Gemini Sun and Rising. Welcome to your April 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. April continues the powerful transits that began in March, and it's like everything is accelerating. But then we have a Mercury retrograde, which will bring things down or slow things down a little bit towards the end of the month. And Mercury is your ruler, so that should be something that is notable for you. Now, April is the first month where Mars is fully in Cancer. I'm recording this in March when actually, come to think of it, Mars finally left its shadow. I'm recording this on the 20th on the equinox, and Mars, as I record this, is poised to go into Cancer. Throughout the whole month of April, Mars continues to be in Cancer. The significance of Mars being in Cancer for Gemini people is that Mars has been in your sign for 7 months. So if you're listening in March, Mars is either still in Gemini or has just recently gone into Cancer. And the reason that you should pay attention to that is, how does it make you feel to have Mars leave your sign? Because it could, Mars being in your sign could be very energizing, and it could give you a lot of kind of maybe even confidence, but there's that tendency to get aggressive. But I don't think when a personal planet is in one sign for that length of time, that's necessarily a good thing, because these influences are meant to kind of come and go fairly quickly. And when it's kind of hanging around in one area, I feel like it can become stagnant. And now that Mars is in Cancer, it's in your second house of earned income. So if you think about it this way, you haven't had, I can't even think about the last time you've had Mars in the second house. So perhaps this has affected you financially in some way. Maybe you've gotten complacent. Maybe you have felt, complacency simply means that the person just accepts the status quo. But sometimes people are downright indifferent, or they just feel draggy when it comes to anything related to earning money. And I try to avoid the word lazy, because I think that um, it's very judgmental, and I don't think that it's very accurate on what exactly I'm talking about. I don't think that people are lazy because they're not a go-getter when it comes to money. Sometimes people aren't that materialistic to begin with, and they're just not motivated. Well, guess what? Now you are motivated, and it could be because you're trying to make up for lost time. And it's really, Mars, you could look at it as a boost. Sometimes it can be excessive, where the person is overly aggressive, pushy, trying to make something happen, depending on what house it's in. But it can be something that lights a fire under you. So maybe that's what's happening here. And so while that is happening, and like I said, that's going to be all month long. While that is happening, you're going to have a lot of energy in the house of Aries. And even, in the Taurus, it's going to get in, which is not really bizarre, because we're in Aries and Taurus season during the month of April. Both of the sun will be in both of these signs at some point in the month. But and therefore the personal planets. But what I'm talking about is that we also have with Aries, we also have Jupiter there. We also have Chiron. These are not always there. These are not personal planets. So that's different. And with Taurus, we have Uranus that is transiting through the sign of Taurus for the past several years. And Jupiter is going to go in there in May. So both of those um, signs are experiencing, um, planets, or in the case of Chiron, an asteroid that is in that sign as well. And so for you, these are the houses of, with Aries, which, by the way, forms a friendly angle to you. We're talking about the 11th house. And with Taurus, we're talking about the 12th house. And this is just a general forecast, because the unequal house system, the Placidus system, is what is used most often, it seems, in predictive astrology, or, looking at the chart and stuff like that. And so it's not that clean cut, and you may have it in a different place than what I'm saying. I mean, it'll affect you, but at a different time, perhaps. But anyway, so as the month begins, we have the sun in, yeah, let's list all the things that are in Aries. We have the sun in Aries. We have Mercury in Aries. I'm talking about at the beginning of April. Um, and we have Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. So we have 4 placements in Aries there. And like I said, we're going to have a solar eclipse in Aries too. So that's your house of the 11th house of hopes and wishes. And this is a house that is like future oriented. This is a house of Aquarius. So it's looking into the future. And this is what long range goals are all about. So this is the house of long range goals. And so it can be about, like, what is that? What is it that you would like to bring into your reality? Your 5-year plan, if you will, or something like that. This is also the house of gains, and with Jupiter here, you may see an increase in your money from the, from your career matters and things like that. But I'm going to get into that when I talk about the eclipse. I just want to say that in regards to Jupiter. This is also the house of friendship. And with Chiron here, you could be a bit sensitive in this area because, well, it depends. Also, this can be attracting people to you, Gemini, that are your friends, but they're also into maybe spiritual kinds of things, or the healing arts. So hanging with some Reiki masters and stuff like that. Or, like how they have Reiki shares and all of that kind of stuff. I'm attuned to level 2 Reiki, but I haven't attended any Reiki shares because I just want to receive Reiki. I don't want to give it to anyone. I it's not that I'm selfish. I just don't feel like I'm really, I said attuned. I don't feel attuned to it. Pardon the pun. To Reiki, but I just want to get it. I don't want to give it. Unless I really felt that I had the magic touch or non-touch, as it were. Um, but anyway, so this is something that actually can be quite good for you, because as I recall, you have, let me see, there was something else. Oh, well, you have Pluto in your 8th house, and that can also be indicative of, exploring metaphysics as to how it pertains to your ability to heal yourself at a deep level and thereby heal other people. Now, of course, Pluto's going into the ninth house in Aquarius um, at the time of this recording in March, but it is going to go back into your eighth house. So you're still going to be dealing with this until the beginning of 2024 at least. Um, so Gemini people already have this influence, and you have Neptune in your 10th house of career. So there again, more indication of this being something in your life. So on the 3rd of the month, Mercury goes into Taurus. And that's the other house, the 12th house, that is really getting a lot going on here. You have Uranus here. Have you had any unusual psychic experiences? And I feel like some of you may have one of those like instantaneous past life recall situations occur. I have a late degree Taurus rising, so, and I have a big 12th house, so I have Uranus in my 12th, and I can't say, oh my God, it's just been like crazy. I can't really pinpoint it that way, but I have had some interesting things happen, and yes, some of them have been about past life, and really it's kind of more like, gee, I wonder if that's what's going on. But Uranus is very intuitive, so it can enhance your psychic abilities for sure. And when your ruler goes into the 12th like that, it's in an area that is very, you could call it illogical, because about the, it's about the intuition. It's not about anything concrete. So you may even have vague anxieties or, confusion. It may be hard for you to communicate the way that you normally do. Remember that this is a very fast-lived transit. The only thing to keep in mind is that there's going to be a Mercury retrograde here. So that should be very good for like meditation, especially. Actually, even when it's direct, it's great for meditation, because um, air signs like Gemini tend to live in the mind and tend to be attached to the mind. I can sometimes tell when somebody's an air sign by how they talk, because a lot of times I'm just being, I don't think Geminis do this. I think this is more like Aquarians. I was going to say they talk like they're on NPR, National Public Radio, and like they don't have a shred of emotion. They're just all in the mind. But being very analytical and things like that. And there's a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place for tuning into um, the higher self. The 12th house is the monk's house, and it's also the house of spiritual realms and past lives. So anyway, on the 6th, we have a full moon at 16 degrees of Gemini. Gemini, what the heck? Of Libra, and that's a fellow air sign, and that's actually going to be in your 5th house of romance and creativity. Because you have Mercury in the 12th at this time, that can be really good for creative projects, which the 5th house can represent. And the 12th house is ruled by Neptune, so it's very imaginative. So this could be a very creative situation going on here, where you're coming up with something. This is foretelling of the eclipses that are going to begin to trigger this 5th house in October. So maybe there's some finished business here at the full moon, letting go of somebody that you have been pining away for, perhaps, or hearing news of someone that you are romantically involved with. Full moons can bring out secrets. So if you've been suspecting something, if you've been dating someone and you've just been like, something is jacked up with this person, maybe you'll find out what it is. And it's a very fertile time. So anybody who um, looking to get I was gonna say knocked up, looking to get pregnant, or even if you're not looking to get pregnant, that could be a little bit tricky because you might be very fertile. I don't know about a man if you're fully sperminated at that time. Maybe that would apply to men as well. But anyway, that's what's happening on the 6th. And then on the 11th, Venus goes into your sign, which is um, very nice, obviously. So Venus has been in the 12th house for the first 11 days of the month. And that can mean that you are dealing with a love situation, but it's kind of behind closed doors. So in some cases, there might be a specific reason why you're doing this. That you don't want other people to know that you're dating a particular person. And now you're bringing it out into the open. Also, when Venus isn't in the 12th house, if you met that person during that time, you may feel like this is your soulmate or some kind of that you have this karmic connection with that individual. And that can feel very faded, and that may feel very good for you, I'm assuming. When Venus goes into your sign on the 11th, you should start to feel pretty. Yes, even you men are going to start to feel very pretty. But when I say that, I am joking because it's not necessarily anything that is specifically, dealing with your physical appearance. It can be your aura. That something just is attracting. Venus is the attractor, so you're attracting something to you, and obviously, I'm talking about something good, and you may come across as charming, and that helps you to get what you want. So, um, yeah, so that is happening on that date, and that might attract love to you even. So you have that full moon on the 6th, and then on the 11th you have Venus going into the first house. So who knows? Maybe love is in the air for you. But I mean, this could definitely be good for your career or a job, whatever you want to call what you do, because you might get the job if you're looking for one. Somebody likes the way that you present yourself. On the 19th or the 20th, depending on where you live, we have a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. That's the last degree, the critical degree. So it really encapsulates, I don't know if I'm saying that right, the essence of that sign and the lessons of that sign. And it's, being at the last degree, it almost feels like a lunar eclipse of sorts. A solar eclipse is a powerful new moon. So it symbolizes change in that area of life, shakeups. Since Aries is the house of friendships and things like that, this could actually, but also your hopes and wishes, this could actually be something that launches a lot of seeds being planted in the area of community. And there may be a reason for that even affects where you live. Because I think in general, and maybe this has to do with Pluto in Aquarius, I think that communal living is going to be very important in the future because of land ownership and what is going on. I'm talking about, I live in the United States, and I just think that um, people living together with a shared ideology, they did this in the 60s. It didn't really work out across the board because there was a lot of other things going on at the same time that kind of made it hard to keep it going. But I think in these times, it's more of like, preserving individual freedom at the same time of sharing in community. Some of you may be already doing this, pursuing this, and this isn't something unusual for you. It might even be a trigger to a past life, with Uranus in the 12th house. I did one time, I went back to college in my 30s, and I already had these pet issues. I was studying education, and I did a like paper on, and I presented to the class about communes, because that has always been something that has fascinated me. And so there were there were these groups in the 1800s. This isn't something that just came about in the late 60s or the early 70s. So um, this is kind of something that may be something you remember from past life, even. So, yeah, so with that solar eclipse, that could kick off really meeting new people, finding your tribe, even. And right after that solar eclipse, the sun goes into Taurus. So that's what I think is so powerful. This is on the 20th, because the sun is going into a new sign right after it is in an eclipse, a solar eclipse. So a lot of change, a lot of, the winds of change blowing. But then the very next day, we have a Mercury retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus. So that just indicates that it's like there's always these things that are in place to kind of allow us to digest the changes and not just keep pushing ahead. Now, this is going to be in your 12th house, um, Gemini. So this is more of a Mercury retrograde that could be, some of you may get, do a past life regression. Some of you may do something that, maybe it's like a meditation retreat. That would be actually like a silent retreat. I think that's what Vipassana, is silent meditation for 10 days. So that might be something that you find very appealing. And this will be going on for the next few weeks. But yeah, something to do with 12th house matters. You're kind of like reviewing or rethinking or, yeah, like going over. But again, meditation could be what this is all about. Because it's like when a planet retrogrades, it's like the person is going inward. And with Mercury, it's the mind. So the mind loves to be active, always like thinking about this, thinking about that. And this is about having it go within instead of without. Instead of talking a mile a minute, you know, maybe not communicating very much at all. You can do silent retreats at home. You can, you know, turn off the internet all day and just kind of like do other quiet pursuits that don't require you to be arguing with other people, like debating or any of that stuff, and just really tuning into the small, what is it called? The small, still voice within you, or whatever they say. So, anyway, that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.